Hi. Many of you know that once a week I offer these little mini retreats. We hold them at a local church and we do some yoga, we do some meditation, we do a lot of good chit chat, and yes, we have tea and treats after. So tomorrow is the mini retreat, and so I wanted to get our treats ready to go. So I'm going to make something that's gluten-free, high in protein, and kind of yummy. We're going to start with my trusty food processor, always so helpful. I've got half a cup of quick oats here, not large flake and not the instant kind, but the regular quick oats. If your gluten-free is very important to you, you'll make sure that you buy the gluten-free oats. I'm just using regular oats because it's just for a group that I know aren't terribly gluten-free. So I'm going to give this a process. It's going to make a lot of noise, sorry, but I'll show you when it's done. And that's probably good. That took about a minute maybe, but I'll just show you it's quite a bit finer now. It's more like oat flour as opposed to oat flakes. I'm going to put that into my bowl. There we go. Now continuing on with the food processor, I've got some bananas here. I always catch the bananas, you know, when they're on sale, and I freeze them. And then when I'm ready to make something like this, I just take them out and let them thaw on the counter, or if I'm in a big huge hurry, I can microwave them. So this is 3 bananas, just 3 average sized bananas. And we'll be using the food processor again, and this won't take very long. Good enough, because they were really ripe bananas. I got a great deal. The other thing I'm going to be adding into this for our wet ingredients is a half a cup of milk. You can use a plant-based milk. I always save my milks when they get sour, and I don't throw them out, and I use them for making muffins and cakes and yummy treats like this. So that you can use a plant-based milk. This is a regular milk, but it doesn't really matter. I'm using a scant half cup coconut sugar. Coconut sugar is nice because if you do have any vegans, they can eat coconut sugar usually because it's not processed with animal fats or animal products. And coconut sugar is less refined. It's got a little bit more of the natural sugarcane goodness in it. So, and I'm also adding in 1 cup of cooked quinoa. Quinoa is a seed. It's not a grain, it's actually a seed. It's gluten-free, and it also has some nice protein to it. Just going to use my food processor to pulse that a little bit more. Makes really quick work of it, doesn't it? So I'll just let that sit for a second while we continue working over here on the dry ingredients. To amp up the protein powder even more, I'm using half a cup of protein powder. This is an unflavored powder that I use in my smoothies. If you wanted to and you have a powder that you like, you can add in vanilla flavored. Would be really nice too. And you can use a whey powder. This is a pea protein powder. Anything that works for you. Then in addition, we're going to add a little bit of salt. Believe it or not, when you're making something sweet, adding a little bit of salt brings out the sweetness more, so you don't have to use as much sugar. This is a half a teaspoon salt in this recipe. We're also going to add half a teaspoon of baking powder. And then we're going to get into some spices. It's that time of year where pumpkin spice is everywhere, so why should we be any different? I'm going to use a teaspoon of cinnamon. And you don't have to be terribly precise. And a half teaspoon of ginger. All the yummy spices from the autumn time. A 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And just a pinch of cloves. Cloves is a super strong flavor. And we don't want to have too overpowering with the cloves. So just a pinch of the cloves. So I'm not even going to take just like that. Just a few shakes like that. I'm going to use my spoon to kind of just blend the dry ingredients. You should smell this. My cameraman back there, can you smell this? Mm-hmm. It is reminiscent of a pumpkin pie. You could easily make this recipe with pureed pumpkin if you've got it left over from another recipe. It would be about a cup of pureed fruit. I didn't have any pumpkin left today, so I just used that. I'm gonna add, sneeze. Gee, must be the pepper or the cloves. I'm gonna add a half teaspoon, full teaspoon, sorry, of vanilla to my wet ingredients and give it one more little go here. Making sure it's freshly mixed. Adding the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients now. Oatmeal really absorbs a lot of liquid as it bakes. So it might look like a real liquidy mixture at first, but as it bakes, you'll see that oatmeal being very, very absorbent. There we go. And just to make things fun, I'm going to add in some dried cranberries. I figured with the pumpkin spice, pumpkin, cranberries kind of all goes together. And for extra healthy fats, walnuts, and again, a little hit of protein. So that can all go in. I'm going to mix this up. It doesn't take a lot of strength to do this. And this looks just perfect. I'll just turn the bowl so you can see the consistency. It's just like a muffin batter, really. And I suppose you could bake this up as muffins. That's what it looks like. And then I've done something I hope is clever with my baking pan. This is to help it come out of the pan and be able to slice into bars so I can serve it tomorrow morning to all of my participants. I've taken a sheet of parchment paper, traced the shape of my 8-inch baking dish, and then left 2 tabs and then cut out the extra bits. So that's going to make it so that I can lift the bars right out as after they've cooled. This is going to go into the pan now and bake at a 350-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. If I get to 25 minutes, everybody's oven's different, and when there's different humidity outside, things change. But if I get to 25 minutes and it still looks really wet and it's not solid very much, then I'll let it go for a couple minutes more. But 20 to 25 minutes should do it. So I've smoothed that out nice and even. And I'm going to get this into the oven and I'll show you when it comes out. So our lovely little protein bars just came out of the oven. You can just smell the pumpkin spice all through the kitchen. So this is what they look like. You can see there's a little cranberry, there's some walnut in there. Gonna have a taste. Here we go. Here we go. The texture is lovely. They're moist, not crumbly at all. Perfect for an autumn day. I hope you like the recipe.